Hi, it's Madison. Welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to do a really quick video about some of the works that I've wanted to write and some of the works that I have attempted to write. This has been a video in progress. I literally made an hour-long video about this a couple of weeks ago, and I was never able to upload it to my editing software. So I'm filming this on my iPad just to see how it works and if it looks all right. Just because transferring my videos to my iPad to then edit it has just been really difficult for me, with a few videos actually. So this is just gonna be the format. I know that it's probably not as clear as my phone quality, but I do want to get a video out, and I think this is like the only way that it's going to get out. So we're just gonna have to work with what we have. So in my past, a lot of people don't know, but I used to be a Wattpad writer, and I used to write a whole lot of stories on Wattpad, some that I started, never even wrote a description about, some that I just wanted to do the screen like the cover art for it, and some of them was just cool name ideas and just never fully realized the story. So that's what we're going to review today, but first I wanted to go over certain stories that I've always want to write, that I'm going to write, not always wanted to write, but I'm going to write in the future. That's just always been something that has been stuck with me and that I've always found interested, and just stories that I just really enjoy, and anytime that I do see stories like this, I am tuned in. The first story, and I'm also gonna make small little cover arts. I think that would be really fun to do, and maybe give a little fake name to it, just to, I don't know, I feel like I love making covers for stories, so I think that'll be really fun. So first is a magical academy story. I'm not sure what it would be named, but I always loved academic settings, and I think I might have went over this in my first video, but I love academic setting stories. They are so good, especially when you have a little bit of drama, as academy usually does. I don't like academic rivals, oh, she's a math whiz, he's an English whiz, not something like that, but it would have to be supernatural. It couldn't just be regular academy book. It'd have to be supernatural, boarding school, anything like that. I think the closest to that I did kind of like that, but didn't really go as the way that I liked it to be, was the spin-off series Legacies. It was it's a popular, it's a part of the Vampire Diaries universe, and I just love that. I love that idea, especially we knew their parents, here are their children. I love that. I love a generational story, and then we have to figure out we have to go, I love that. I love that. That's perfect. It's niche. I love it. But like I said, it has to be magical or I don't care at all. Next is an assassin story. I love assassin stories. I honestly think the closest, well, there is an anime that I used to watch called Gunslinger Girl. That was pretty good. It was about the cyborg assassins. Really, really good. I think the most common assassin story that I can think of is Kill Bill, which is pretty good, and also probably Black Widow's movie was pretty good as well. Just when they have to kind of overthrow the government and stuff like that, but also find family in that way, when they're traumatized obviously from what they're doing, but they are able to escape and are able to become assassins, or well, not assassins, but when they're able to become free from their assassin assassin life, and like they live like a little life on the prairie type. But or I kind of like when it's like kind of like a time jump. So like this is their story from back then when they were assassin, they escaped, or stuff like that. Kind of like a prologue to a different book would be really cool. I love that. I also really love like an actress story. That's just so cute. Like finding love on sets, I think is so cutesy, so cutesy. And they have to like maybe figure out their lives, like balancing being in love on set and also balancing their fans. I think it's cute, but I feel like it's definitely hard to take seriously. There wouldn't really be any like fantasy in it, and I love fantasy so much. It's so hard for me to read a book without a fantasy in it, to be honest. But I think it's such a cute romance, and it's easy. I feel like it's really easy to make that a rom-com, but that's just me. I don't know. But I think that would be really, really interesting. Like, oh, like they're falling in love and they have to do a kiss scene or like a little intimate scene, you know? Like, I think that's really, really cute, and I would definitely love to write a story about that. In general, I love vampires and would love to write a vampire story and also a mermaid story, just because I've always loved mermaids, so it's just natural that I would write one. But I'm not 100% sure what I would write that about. Obviously I have time. I'm not dead right now. So obviously I have time to figure that out. But I would definitely love to write a vampire story, mermaid story, maybe a werewolf story. I'm not 100% sure. I feel like that would be pretty cool, but I don't know. So I don't know. But yeah, those are some of the sphere stories that are in my head. So now I'm gonna go through some of the stories that I have written that weren't really, they were ideas that I had started but never finished. And I'll also try to leave their cover art right here somewhere in one of these areas, just because I used to love making cover art. Like I said before, I loved making cover art. I wasn't that good at it, but I loved doing it. It was literally such a reward. Like starting a book idea and making the cover. Like there would be a lot of times where I would just start the book just to make a cover. So the first, and we're gonna go so like stories that didn't really have any plot and then stories that did. So the first few are installments. There were books Violet, Daisy, and Rose. It was going to be a 3-part series about girls that like go to school, but they have mutations about them, like physical mutations. One of them had wings. I think one of them, like their face was kind of melted or something like that. I can't even really remember, but yeah, they all had these mutations about them. And not saying that your face being melted is your mutation, but I think it wasn't like a natural, like, oh, they were in a fire. It was more so like they were born with their face like kind of weird, but they had like unknown powers that helped them throughout their journey, that they eventually realized, going on. I can't even remember what their powers were going to be, but yeah, that was going to be a 3-part series. Made the covers and never really looked back. The next were 2 books, Nathan's Girl and Michael's Girl, which eventually turned into a book called The New Era. So Nathan's Girl and Michael's Girl was pretty much the same thing. It was basically about an assassin coming to, which was assassin story, coming to this place. I think one was going to be about werewolves and one was going to be about vampires, and trying to protect a group of people. So like if it was like werewolves, which I'm pretty sure was in Nathan's Girl, they were going to be protecting the pack. And with Michael's Girl, I'm pretty sure was vampires and like presidential or something like that. And they were going to be protecting like the presidential family of the vampire world or something, which eventually turned into the New Era, which is basically Nathan's Girl, but not weird, because it was like the girl, I think her name was Kit. Kit was like teaching these people how to protect themselves from their enemies. So yeah, assassin story about a girl who has to figure out how to help these people learn self-defense. It was pretty good. Nathan's Girl and Michael's Girl was not. Michael's Girl definitely was not like, it wasn't really like anything at all. But Nathan's Girl and the New Era was kind of, it was alright. I mean, it was okay. I did a lot more in the New Era than all the rest of them in like the 2 books. Yeah, it just had a bit of development issues. Like, why would you need this one girl to teach all these people how to do self-defense? Like, this should kind of be should kind of be like a new thing. Like, this should kind of be a thing that everyone does. But I did like it because I was trying to get like more of a political, it definitely stemmed from like the Cold War type thing. And I know it's kind of confusing because like, how do you get assassins from the Cold War? Well, I did, and I don't know, I liked it. It was fun to write, but I just didn't really know how to write a story back then, so there was no outlining, there was no notes, it was just me going. But I feel like if I did, revisit it, I think maybe I would be able to do it more justice. Next book was supposed to be a series, which is called Royal Pains. So this was going to follow, I was going to do like a whole series about different supernatural creatures, and it would follow like the lives of these royal people, like these royal children who have to grow up and lead their forces, like lead their country, I guess. Good idea. Bad like world building for it. It was a really good idea, I think. Because I really like connected stories. Like, you read one story, you don't have to read, like, you read the second book in the first book, and you don't necessarily have to read the first book, but like characters from the first book come into the second book, and I like that. I really do. And that's what this was going to be. It just lacked world building. I didn't really have a plan for any of these characters or anything like that, but I do think that this would have been really cool if I did put some effort into it. But I was like 12 when I started this, so I can't really, it's whatever. So the next stories are kind of the same. The next stories that I had were very much cover based. I didn't really have an idea of what I wanted to do with them, and they were all kind of the same plot. They didn't have a plot, but they were all kind of the same thing, and that is same desire, corruption, and broken promises. Yeah, they were pretty much the same thing. They weren't about anything. I know Same Desire was supposed to be like a lesbian story, same desire, they want the same thing, but that was pretty much it. The rest were just kind of, it was more so cover based for me. And also The Void was about like a prison world for bad people, and like this girl got stuck in the void. This was like the very first work that I did ever. But yeah, there was no plot to this. There was nothing. I mean, there's nothing really I could say about it because it was just kind of empty. Okay, so my next 3 stories, I tried on them, and they definitely have potential, and they definitely should be picked up again. Maybe in the future, I'm not sure. But these had some meat in them. They had a little bit of something that could have been something, okay? So the first one is called Levies. I loved making the cover art for this. It was really fun. This was basically about a group of people, about 48 people, who mysteriously died. They all died tragically, but they all woke up again. They all like come back to life within 3 days. And it was basically like, what are they, like, what happened? And then it was kind of like more of a mystery thriller, I guess. Also, what is the word? Sci-fi, because I did want to maybe incorporate the idea of aliens in it. I think this was pretty cool. I don't know. I think it was cool. I think it was original. But I have a really hard time with mystery. So I don't know, maybe one day I could pick this back up. I thought it was interesting. We'll see. The next one is The Prophecy. Now this one was a little tricky, but I did really enjoy writing it. This was basically about a girl who is a witch that lives within this pack. So her family lives within this werewolf pack, and she and everyone else in the pack believes that her and the alpha son were supposed to be together. And before anyone comes for me, which I don't think anyone will, I wrote these back in like 2013, 2014. I was big on Wattpad back then, and where I love werewolf books, and I feel so ashamed talking about werewolf book now because no one talks about them. It's always vampire or fae. Like, I feel like no one is talking about werewolves anymore, but I loved werewolf books. So this one was one of those. But yeah, they all thought that they were, like, it was written in a prophecy for them to be together. But then eventually, during a very big, like, prominent ball that all of the neighboring packs come to, there is a beast that shows up on their doorstep, and well, not the doorstep of the ball, and who was later revealed as the main character's mate. So she has to figure out, you know, what was this prophecy about, and what would, like, how did it even come to be, you know, because it was kind of like one of those, oh, this is canon and you don't even know where it's from type of situation. So I liked that one. It was really fun to write. I could get into the mood to write it very easily. But mystery, The Prophecy was just kind of really hard for me to write. This was really fun. I don't think I would go on to publish this one ever. Like, I don't know if I would ever actually pick this up again, just because I feel like it's kind of, I feel like everyone's kind of read a story like this before. Maybe I can't pinpoint one right now exactly, but it's a little basic for me. But I do like to go back to reread it because I did write a lot of dialogue with it and stuff. So I like to visit it every once in a while, but yeah. So the last story that I did write, and none of these are finished, by the way. I don't think I ever mentioned that, but none of these were actually finished. They were just books that I wrote on Wattpad. Most of them didn't even get published. This last one did. So the last one is called In Their Eyes. This was a story about, it was like about like 1950s, 1960s America. And it basically followed this girl and a group of other African Americans who, after a recent attack, bombing on their school, their all-black school, the officials, the county officials, the mayor, decided that, you know, we can't have all these black people and colored people, because I think I had like a few Hispanic characters in there as well, Latina character in there as well. We can't have these people of color in this one spot. We have to figure out how we can like desegregate schools. So they kind of went through like this program, like Ruby Bridges almost, where they try to desegregate the school and send like about like eight people of color to this all-white school. And basically it was the main characters. I believe her name was Beverly. It was Beverly and her brother's story about, you know, going to this new school that happened to be an all-white school. I like this book. I do like this book. It was very, I wouldn't say fun. It wasn't fun to write, but I kind of had to do a little bit of research for it, which I liked. I like doing research for stuff like that. Very, very interesting to write, but I was just too young to write it. I was like 13, 14 trying to write this book. Way too young to write about desegregation and stuff like that. But I definitely feel like I would revisit this. Just because like I feel like it had an impact. You know, I obviously wasn't there during desegregation and during the civil rights movement, but I think I don't know. I think it was different. I just think it was a little different. I don't necessarily read historical fiction like that. But I think it was something different. I think it was something fresh. I think with this book and with a lot of, with books with a lot of like racial issues, it's kind of hard. It's difficult to figure out how to write this, but not make it weird, not make it fetish-y, because she does end up with a white partner in the story. So I don't know, it was kind of strange, but strange to write, just because it is like our history. So like, I don't know, it's just kind of weird to write about, you know, actual history that's happened, and it's not like a fantasy. But yeah, this was interesting to write. I would definitely revisit it, maybe when I'm a lot older, maybe like 60. When I'm like old in my little cottage or something, I'd probably revisit this, just because I'd have a more mature take on it. When I was younger, I didn't have a mature take on it because I wasn't old enough to have a mature take on it. So I don't know, we'll see. So that's all I have for the books that I've want to write and books that I have tried my hand at writing. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys have a good day, and I hope that you guys are doing really good on your projects, and I hope to see you all in the next video. Bye!